Joining me now is Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. He also serves on the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. Some people are calling this proposed Biden plan a return to a partial deal. What does that even mean when we're talking about nuclear weapons?
Right. Well, this is even a weaker deal than the Obama-era Iran deal. So what they're talking about is lifting just a few sanctions, just a little bit of sanctions for just a little bit of restrictions on the nuclear program. And I mean, that's just exactly the wrong approach, but shouldn't surprise anyone because the same team that was around Obama is now around Biden. And it's basically rather than going to maximum sanctions and maximum pressure to get a longer and stronger deal, which would encompass terrorism, which would encompass hostages, their missile program, and a true inspection regime on their nuclear program. They're going to go back to the table and, what can we concede? What can we give away? What sanctions can we lift? Mother, may I, please, pretty please, Iranian regime, will you give us just anything so we can say we got back into a deal? And that's going to lead to a nuclear-armed Iran, and Israel will take action. They won't accept that.
So one of the things the Biden administration is doing is working through the UN to start rolling back or reversing some of the Obama and then Trump administration sanctions. One of them, as I understand, allows Iranian diplomats and government officials potentially more access to the United States. Is that the right move?
No. And keep in mind, though, that access was restricted under the Trump administration because the Iranian regime right now, Jillian, as we speak, are holding Americans hostage, literally chained to the floor of their notorious prison in Tehran. One of the prisoners was supposed to be released as part of the Iran deal, and the Iranians reneged on that, and the poor man has been held there for the last 6 years. So Trump said, you know what, if you're going to do that to our people, we're not going to let your diplomats run around and enjoy our universities and have free access across the United States. Well, now, again, we're back to, instead of maximum pressure, let's call it maximum carrots or maximum concessions. And the Biden administration is just desperately trying to find things they can give away. And again, practically begging the Iranians to come back to the table.
What would happen if negotiations wholesale collapsed midway through? What kind of ramifications would that have for the United States?
Well, look, I think, Iran is marching towards a nuclear weapon. And I think what most Americans need to understand is that will set off a nuclear arms race with the Saudis, with the Turks, and with others in the region. That's not good for anyone in the world. And I do not believe this Israeli government will allow that to happen, nor should the United States government, and will take military action to stop that eventuality. So all of those things are fantastically destabilizing and will hit every American, economically and across the board from a destabilizing standpoint. And look, if there is any type of nuclear exchange anywhere in the world, that could set off just absolutely catastrophic events that will harm all of us.
What do you say to supporters of President Biden who say, look, President Trump had this maximum pressure campaign for 4 years. Iran continued on its path toward a nuclear weapon. So that clearly didn't get the job done either.
I think if Trump had gotten another term, the Iranian regime would have come to the table in a much, much weaker position. And then we could have gotten a more comprehensive deal that covers all of those other things, their missile program, terrorism, their hostage diplomacy. Look, they are on their back foot. Their currency is tanking. Their economy is tanking. They can't afford to pay their proxies, Hezbollah and the Houthis and their other terrorist proxies. I mean, they are right on the cusp of having to come back to the table from a weaker position. And unfortunately, now this administration is going to let them off the hook yet again, which is exactly what the Obama administration did.
Critical moment. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jillian.